Good afternoon, Bill Quirk with Big Daddy Unlimited. Today we want to talk about EDC, everyday carry, beyond the gun. So as gun people, when we start talking about everyday carry, we tend to focus on the weapon. And the weapon is obviously a core component here. This is my new to me, Walther Q5 match polymer. Running a red dot on top, my Surefire flashlight. Grip's been done by my friends at Great Lakes Custom Works up in Michigan. Running the Overwatch Precision tack trigger in the same blue that the factory one comes in. As a law enforcement officer, I like that. Really good trigger. Really good gun. And the gun is obviously an important part of our EDC layout, our equipment. But there's a lot more than just the gun, just having the gun, because there are other things we might need to do and be prepared to encounter. So we want to give some more consideration. So we're going to talk about that today. So we're going to move this over here for a second and focus on some of the other things. This is all equipment that I carry on a regular basis, day in and day out. So the first thing to think about with your EDC equipment is you need to integrate it into your life so that you can comfortably carry it. If it's a pain, if it's uncomfortable, recognizing that whenever you start carrying anything, you're going to have to deal with some degree of less comfort. Not discomfort, but less comfort, because you're loading your pockets up and putting stuff on your belt and so on and so forth. But we want it to be as comfortable as possible, because if it's really a pain, we're not going to use it. We're not going to have it when we need it. So I carry all of this equipment with me day in and day out. It's not just when I go to the range to teach. It's also when I'm at the grocery store, when I'm off, when I'm out with my family. I'm still going to have the same equipment because I want to be prepared for whatever comes my way, within reason. So obviously spare ammunition is a big thing. Semi-automatic pistol, the magazine is the weak link, so if you start having malfunctions, there's a good chance it's going to be magazine based. And if you don't have a spare magazine, then you can't fix that problem. And then even more fundamentally, I had too much ammunition in a gunfight, said no one ever, and you're going to want this if you ever need it. The more the better, okay? Again, within reason. I carry 2 magazines, one in the gun and then 1 spare, and that gives me sufficient options for most problems that I'm likely, and even unlikely really, to encounter in this country. So then also a multi-tool. This is a Gerber. It's a new one that I just got, one of their multi-tool systems. Very handy to have. Breaks forth, gives me my pliers. I've got screwdrivers, knives, a pair of scissors, bunch of other stuff. Handy little belt clip, goes right in my pocket, very unobtrusive, and it gives you a lot of options in case you need to fix something. Again, not as a weapon necessarily, but just EDC for everyday life, for your normal situations. A knife. So a knife, very important. This is a 5x5 Combat Solutions Michael Janet enhanced Spyderco Endura. And they've just trimmed the blade down a little bit and taken out some jimping. This is a really good piece of equipment. Mostly it's just a tool. It's something I use to cut open boxes, cut zip ties, do all kinds of mundane tasks. But it can be a weapon if I need it. A lot of people carry knives and consider them to be a weapon, a defensive tool for them. One thing I'll tell you is just having the knife in and of itself may not be enough. Get some training, just like you need to do with your firearm, and know how to use this if you actually have to employ it in that role. A flashlight is one of the best things that you can carry, and I talk about this in my classes. Even if you can't carry a weapon, you're in a non-permissive environment, you're in a courthouse, on an airplane, something like that where you cannot have a weapon with you, a flashlight is benign. Why do you carry a flashlight? So I can see in the dark. That's why I carry the flashlight. Now something like this is a Mod Light handheld PLH head. Very powerful, absolutely top quality, very good piece of kit. It's been accessorized with a Theorem switchback. That's this ring up here that lets me get a good grip even if my hand opens. If I bump my elbow and my hand opens, I'm not going to lose the knife. It's got a belt clip. This is a good, solid piece of kit for lots of uses. If I drop my car keys, I can find them. If I'm in the movie theater and I'm trying to make sure I left nothing under the seat before I leave after the movie, I can check and see what's going on. If I need to use this as a more of a defensive tool, if I'm out walking at night and someone jumps out of the bushes at me, I don't need to go for my knife. I can just use this. This is solid aluminum, and I can start working you over as an impact device. When we start talking about defensive applications related to the weapon, Light is information, information is power. In our safety brief, we talked about making a conscious decision to shoot. Part of a conscious decision to shoot is I have to have identified exactly what I'm pointing the weapon at. What am I about to destroy? This gives you the ability to do that in a low light, no light system, or low light, no light scenario, just like the weapon light on the pistol. And I'm willing to put up with the bulk here. I've got kids, and if I'm having to hold on to them, I can't deploy the handheld, but I like to have both because certainly redundancy is a good thing when you're talking about critical situations, and it's frowned upon to use the weapon light to find my car keys and whatnot. You might have seen videos about that. So then cell phone, obviously cell phone's very important. Make sure you have this with you. Communication is critical. If something does happen, you need to reach out to 911, reach out to family, reach out to EMS, whatever the case may be. So communications are very important. Medical equipment. So medical equipment is one of the things we see most often neglected by concealed carry folks. They want to carry the gun and the ammo and the flashlight and the knives and everything else, but they don't think about the medical equipment. First of all, if you get into a fist fight, you're probably going to get punched. Get into a knife fight, you're probably going to get cut. Get into a gunfight, you could very well get shot. If you can make holes, it's probably a good idea to be able to plug holes. Beyond that, if you're out walking, you're somewhere, you come across a car crash, you can save a life. So I carry these everywhere I go. This is my old team, we used the soft T-wide, so that's what I'm used to. The Cat 7 is also a very good tourniquet and probably a little bit more appropriate for an individual, but this is what I'm used to, so this is what I still use. It's mounted on a Filster flat pack that I have modified with quick clips as opposed to the belt loops that it normally has. And this just goes right on my belt, on my, my left hip. I can access it with either hands. And with this, I can save a life. If I come up on a car crash, somebody's got an arterial bleed, I can save a life with this. This goes in my bellows pocket. Now I'm retired. The fashion police gave up on me a long time ago, so I can kind of dress like a slob, but I keep this in the bellows pocket of my shorts or my long pants if I'm wearing long pants. And it hides in plain sight. You know, it peeks out from the pocket, but it doesn't look like anything because it isn't anything. What I have in here is a pair of gloves. I've got combat gauze, hemostatic agent. I've got chest seals, compression bandage, and then the bag and the duct tape itself are also part of the kit because I can use those as a makeshift compression bandage or something along those lines, a chest seal or something along those lines. The one thing about this is when people do start to get into medical equipment, we see a tendency to get a lot of stuff that they don't know how to use, a lot more complex than what they're really going to need. So my advice there is get what you're going to need and know how to use what you have. So do get training in what you're going to carry, but it doesn't need to be terribly complex. I have some doctor friends, some students, that have talked about airways and decompression needles and stuff like that. And that's beyond the scope of my training and probably beyond the scope of what I'm going to need. What I'm concerned about is fixing some immediate trauma in the few minutes that EMS is taking to get to where I'm at. So that's what I'm equipped to do. Got my tourniquet, goes on my belt. I've got this that goes in the bellows pocket. So this is all the gear that I carry. It gives me a lot of options. Options are good. You don't want to have so many options that you get bogged down, but you do want to prepare yourself for what's likely, maybe even what's not likely, because you never know what life's going to throw at you. So these are all the things that I carry. Like I said, they're integrated into my daily wardrobe. I don't leave the house without them. It's no chore for me to have them all on because I have taken care to. I have a good belt, good holster, make sure that everything fits on there nice, doesn't poke and prod me. It's not excessively not comfortable. All right, if you have any questions about any of this or anything at all, feel free to make a comment down at the bottom of this video. Please give us a like and a share. And if there's anything you'd like us to talk about in the future, let us know about that as well. Thank you all. Y'all stay safe.